It's dinner time.
That's right.
Yep.
Mysteries of the Temple of Set, Inner Teachings of the Left-Hand Path by Don Webb. And so we're picking up where we left off last time. And as we read, it says, initiation is the process of discovering who you came into this world to be and then becoming that self.
Right.
It is a series of processes, usually begun from apparently outside of yourself, but then carefully chosen and designed by the self-evolving self. Right. So,
Right.
it can be broken down into four various ways, and Uncle Setnacht breaks it into four experiences. So we're going to go over the four experiences. 2 positive, 2 negative. Right.
Right.
Of initiation. All right, so go ahead, start with the first experience, which is positive. Go ahead, son, read.
Right. The first experience is something that catches the attention of the black flame. A sacred moment where the self becomes aware of itself. This moment is usually claimed by religions of light, since they focus on the outside event rather than the inner unfolding. Most human mysticism is based on seeking and experiencing this moment of illumination. Persons possessed of such moments can, by their actions, human goodness, become kinder.
They can, by their actions, become kinder.
More thoughtful, more curious about the world. Most of the human goodness is a reflection of these moments, taken from the subjective experience of individuals and cast into the objective world by action.
Right.
Like all positive experiences, one can become addicted to his path.
Right.
And then initiation ceases although as you sit for years by the side of the Ganges, the world may deem you holy.
Right, and that's the first positive experience.
Right.
Right. Now, the second one, another positive experience. Go ahead.
Okay. So another positive experience comes from consciously altering the world so that others may have that same glimpse of self.
Right.
That placed on you the path of self-discovery and self-actualization.
Self-actualization.
Right. This means becoming a magician rather than a mystic or a trickster, rather than a minister. The joy that you have initiating another is exactly like the joy the Prince of Darkness had initiating you.
Right.
This is consciously using a divine prototype to bring yourself an experience that you can use for your own becoming.
Right.
The memories that you bring yourself are more lasting and permanent than the substances you choose upon entering this world. This experience too can become addictive, and you could become a cult leader, taking your flock through illumination and away from the world of action in the real world.
Right. All right. So those are the 2 positive experiences in initiation.
Right.
Right. Let's go over the 2 negative experiences in initiation.
So the negative experience of self-knowledge is discovering how messed up you are. Humans are vastly imperfect creatures. We have developed great defenses against seeing our flaws. As the Magus Jesus said, we overlook the beams in our eyes while focusing on the sawdust in another's. He was right in that the laws of others that madden us the most as our own flaws, rubbing up our defense mechanisms. The real initiate is always on the lookout for methods to sneak past his or his or her defenses and see what is really wrong.
Mm-hmm.
The negative vision of the building blocks of the self is terrifying and harsh. It can lead to depression and anger. Yet the initiate learns to take as calmly as he or she can
as calmly as he or she can,
and begin to work on strategies to short circuit the behaviors that stand in the way of his or her desire.
Right.
The danger with the negative vision is that we are willing to substitute suffering for work.
Right.
I don't know how to change myself, so I'll do penance.
That's in quote unquote. I don't know how to change myself, so I'll do penance.
Mm-hmm.
This is the negative attitude.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
People who encounter the negative vision often seek to punish themselves. Initiates seek the negative vision in order to find out what to work on, like the positive vision of the self. The negative vision usually comes from outside first.
Mm-hmm.
A bad report card, a crappy job, a car wrapped around a telephone pole, etc.
Right. All right, and let's go to the fourth experience, which is the next negative experience of initiation.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So the fourth part of initiation is choosing a negative aspect of the world to struggle against.
Mm-hmm.
Early in out initiation, we have two sorts of bad things to struggle against.
Mm-hmm.
We have to struggle to make our way in the world, get a house, an education, money for the babysitter, etc.
Mm-hmm.
Desire provides simple, crude, and plentiful energy for the struggle. We also have to struggle against things in our characters that are weak and hurtful. We have to overcome the legacy of an abusive parent, or end our relationship with drugs, or simply learn how not to be lazy.
Right.
Desire provides less energy for that because these flaws usually come about because we misrouted energy in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
But the energy that we produce to overcome these problems is much more useful to the self in its quest for immortality.
Right.
But the self needs more. The self needs to feel that it can make big changes.
The self needs to feel that it can make big changes. Mm-hmm.
So the initiate looks around his or her world. What problem strikes deeply at the self? What problem does his or her black flame rebel against? It could be the environment or the state of women in the world.
Women in the world.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Or religious intolerance.
Religious intolerance. These are just things, that could be elements of the environment that stresses one or makes one feel unsafe.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Or any of 1,000 things.
Any of these 1,000 things, etc., etc. Mm-hmm.
Pick that worst problem and apply yourself against it.
Mm-hmm. So face that worst problem and apply yourself against it.
Right. Not as a simple drudge, but as a general with a plan. Maybe your first year might be taking a video about deforestation. This sort of work is far too hard for the occultnik that would rather wave his wand, bless the redwoods, and go home.
Right.
I have called this experience a negative one because despite the positive victories and celebrations along the way, you will always be having the humbling truth that the world cannot be fixed, no matter how powerful you become in it. Desire provides almost no energy for these tasks. You have to provide desire by magic. You have to learn how to create your own energy, not based on body needs or social inventory. But if you learn to produce and use such energy while alive, you will have the skill you need after death to produce desire, channel desire, accept, and learn from your deeds, and proceed to victory. That is the process of initiation.
Right. You will have the skill you need after death to produce desire, channel desire, accept, and learn from your deeds, and produce victory.
Right.
All right. Here, I'll read this last paragraph of this chapter here.
Okay.
All right. The temple provides a meaningful context for this process to take place. It provides the first two experiences as part of its magical training.
Right.
The great mystical moment can be passed from mouth to ear at any Setian working, particularly the great annual working at conclave. These illuminations most often do not happen in the chamber, but as a result of the energies unleashed into the world by these workings. Of course, the world benefits by our working, but lacking the knowledge of what to look for, they miss those moments when they appear. The temple provides a context for the second sort of positive experience by letting Setians of all degrees write rituals for their personally determined needs.
Right.
It provides a specific place for the second sort of positive experience by having an institutionally created priesthood. It provides social network that helps people avoid undue fascinations with any of the four experiences of initiation. And beyond this, it provides a magical framework wherein great synchronicities occur for Setians. It creates omens, coincidences, and opportunities that show up magically while people are doing their self-work. All of this occurs in the magical environment that is connected with the Prince of Darkness.